Good evening. It is Tuesday, August 8th, and this is the Finance Committee meeting. I am Katie Belko. I am sitting in as chair this evening for Ms. Bierman, who was unable to be with us. We have an agenda this morning, 5 items. This evening, morning. It's evening, in case anybody was wondering. It's morning somewhere. Yes, I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? My dad used to say that it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So the first item up for discussion is the online platform for ticket sales. We did just have a discussion in curriculum about it. It was brought there first, and now we can kind of continue some of our finance discussion. Since there's new members here, because it's the committee, would you please present your information to us again?
Yes, ma'am. So we're looking into possibly having online ticketing for athletics. We looked at, I have 2 specific companies, Ticket Spicket and GoFan, who are 2 companies that are typically or used very frequently in New Jersey for online ticketing. These individual ticket companies would essentially charge a fee that would be incurred by the consumer. I believe that this would be something that would help us in the areas of, you know, running the individual events for football, specifically as well as basketball, by limiting some of the lines that we would have. It would also provide us with potential opportunities to decrease the amount of workers that we would need for ticket taking and things of that nature. We would also have the opportunity to use this at a district-wide level in areas of performing arts and, you know, such as theater, in the summer as well for some of the summer programming and things like that we have. One of the neat things that they do offer is which we spoke about earlier as well, was the opportunity to have custom seating charts, which could be used in different types of events that we have as well. And again, they're pretty simple to use. They would also allow for the option to have season passes, which could be used by some of our fans' parents if they wanted to buy tickets ahead of time. And yeah, that's the general gist of it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Gail, since you were not at curriculum, do you have any questions?
I had to take in what he just said. And was anything said different at curriculum than what he said just now?
No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the same information.
No, I mean, yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm the only one that's new.
No problem.
No, I appreciate, I think it's a good idea. Could probably get more people access to buy the tickets, even people that live in the town, rather than people that have, you know, children in athletics or drama or anything like that. So if it's spread about the town, so that the whole community can get involved in it, that I'm 100% for, not just the district.
And I did forget to mention, so there would be no cost to the district. The consumer would incur the cost. And again, we wouldn't be eliminating the cash sales. We would still have that for any community members who wish to purchase the ticket, you know, the regular way at the gate. This would just enhance the ability for them to be able to purchase via other
You have a
outlets.
cash booth and then a booth where, I don't know how you do it here, but I've seen stadiums have 2 booths, one that purchases ahead sometimes and one that you pay cash. Or if some are like, I know when I was a Board of Ed member, I get in for free to the football games and all the events. We always did. So if we had that, we had a different line to go into. But are you, as a district, going to make any money using this?
So we would not be making any money. We would not be losing any money. It would be something that we would just use to be able to provide alternate routes for our fans to purchase tickets.
Could you share with her the cost of tickets just as you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. So the current tickets that we have right now, we charge $3 for adults and $2 for students and our seniors. The ticket fees that they have for GoFan specifically, which is the one that I would try to move towards, would be they would charge $1 per ticket in order essentially as a fee to the consumer.
There's no way that we can make any money off it?
I like that.
I don't understand. You're putting a new program.
If I could jump in, I would think, I'm sorry.
You can jump as high as you want, but to me, this is a finance committee, and to me, if you're gonna put a new program in, there's gotta be a little bit for us.
I would,
Would love to.
may I, Ms. Belko?
Yes, Mr. Waller, knock your socks off.
I would say that the idea of advanced sales leads us to more likely to increase revenue stream. For example, if we say that Friday night there's a big game versus South Brunswick, buy your tickets now, let's buy now, and then if it starts raining on Friday, more or less likely to go into the game and maybe purchase the ticket. So anytime you have an advanced sale, you're more likely, anytime you're in, at least in my experience, anytime you're adding a layer of convenience to grease up a transaction, you're more likely to complete the transaction. But my perspective personally, the idea of streamlined registering, capturing payment, and also managing seating. Now, that's something the district has never done. But I would ask the committee not to just limit this to something like a theater seating. You know, we just registered, for example, with the Lego Week that we just did, for the summer program was very limited to cap at 22 students. Currently, the district has no mechanism of governing a program with a cap, because of our registration system. This summer, many of our parents were paying fees to register for our summer program using My School Bucks. My School Bucks has a 4.95% transaction fee incurred by the consumer. The district does not get to touch. In some instances, parents were paying almost $100 in transaction fees to My School Bucks, which good for My School Bucks, but bad for us.
But nothing back to us, correct?
No, so that is currently what we are using. Admittedly, I'm not versed in the particular products that were presented tonight at that level, but in my discussions with Mr. Brandika and the rest of the staff that was working on this, it does seem that there are other products out there that better suit the needs of the district, particularly ones that would, at least comparable to My School Bucks, would save the consumers money. 4.95% on a $3 ticket is palatable. But when we're talking about a program that costs a couple $100 to register for, like a summer school program or something like that, you know, that $1 ticket transaction is much easier to swallow. So I think there's scalability here to consider. And I also think there are other added value things that transcend athletics and performing arts that could bring benefit to the district. Some of these companies I don't know about GoFan, in some instances will allow you to create artwork on the tickets. Sometimes they are advertising opportunities digitally that you could package in. I don't know if that's possible with these particular companies. I have been approached in the past by companies that have offered things like that, but if I remember correctly, you said that there was an integration with our website with this
Correct.
product, which leads us to more potential promotional opportunities through private investment.
Yeah,
I would have liked to seen 2 or 3 different companies here to compare, not just the one. I also would like to see us making money off of something like this. I just can't see putting something out there without making a little bit of money that could help a program or books or whatever's needed in this district. So truthfully, I wouldn't go for it unless I see 2 more options. And one of the options is to raise money for us.
so we do have, so Ticket Spicket is on here, which is another company that is,
Tickets?
Ticket Spicket is what it's called, yeah.
Like that.
You have it?
I thought it was,
No, I didn't
oh,
know.
I'm sorry. I can send this over to everyone, for sure. I have Ticket Spicket, which was another company. They charge 75 cents per ticket. And then on top of that, they charge a 2.9 percent credit card fee.
I
So there's-
understand.
That
but,
would charge.
I mean, we're gonna put something new in here. I mean, we gotta make a little bit off of it.
It's not a new program. Part of what was discussed at curriculum
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up the
Was-
fiduciary responsibility.
was that we take in a lot of cash at these events
Mhm.
because everything is cash
Right,
only.
right.
So you'll have a play or a band event, there's 20, 10, $15,000 that coming in cash, where this is a streamlined process. If the majority of the tickets are bought online, that money is going into the district immediately into an account instead of having multiple layers of staff touching thousands of dollars. I mean, that was one of the things that I know that you had brought forth.
I understand all that. I mean, I used to work in those booths years ago and my kids were in Pop Warner and different things like that. And yeah, somebody's gotta be responsible for all that money.
Yeah, I think, I think that there would be a financial benefit to the district based on just our ability to operate more efficiently. I know that, and I know Mr. Bendig is new, but having worked these events and attending a lot of them, if you were to attend a football game in the first quarter, you're lucky if you get in by the second, because of the archaic nature in which we complete our transactions cash. Many of our patrons, upon arrival to the ticket booth, are upset to find out that we only accept cash and then have to leave and go find an ATM and Stop and Shop. This has happened on several occasions. The additional thing about that is, I'm fairly confident we could produce financial statements that show the tale of how many staff members that we have to employ as ticket takers. In my professional opinion, those staff that are used as crowd control amongst the students in the bleachers, to make sure that the event is happening safely and that the parking lot is monitored. We have such a disproportionate amount of staff taking tickets at multiple locations because of the sheer volume and of the fact that we have to take sometimes thousands of dollars of cash, transport it with security guard to a safe off-site. On top of that, there was no paper trail to verify the transaction took place. I do not believe we are handing out paper receipts every time we take cash. And I don't want to speak for Ms. Allen, I would never dare to, but I imagine that that creates some challenges in the business office when you're dealing exclusively in cash for auditing and accounting purposes. I will say that I can say this with high degree of certainty. We are one of the only districts that does not currently take digital payment for tickets. And that is a concern amongst the staff.
The
and
play as well, not just sports.
Not just sports, the play. This summer was the first time we accepted digital payment for enrichment programming. It saved us a lot of time, but it still was very laborious. And it's just time I think could be better used focused on students.
If I may, I would like to add something to that. Sure. So I totally respect the fact, I'm not disagreeing with you about making money, but I would like to say that we need to sometimes move forward in the right direction. My recommendation, and of course it is the decision of the finance committee, but my recommendation is to move forward because it is no cost to us. It is no cost to the consumer if they choose to use cash. We're not taking away that ability, but people like to do things in advance. I'm one of them that would just go online and buy it for the entire season. And if we find that we have another company moving forward, as we get more comfortable with this, where we can make money, we can make changes, we can get rid of this company. This is a step in the right direction. It's not the end all be all.
Is it a yearly contract?
I'm sorry?
No, it's
Is it a
canceled
yearly contract? How long?
You essentially, so you sign with them in order to use it for the year, but if you choose not to use it, there's nothing.
You can get out of it?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, no.
So,
And now the other thing, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I was asked earlier if there's any way to get, any discounts with purchasing in volume. They don't offer that, but if the consumer purchases season pass tickets, it's cheaper for them from the standpoint of the fees as if they buy individual tickets, like instead of buying 5 tickets individually. So that would also promote, just better attendance, because some of the fans would want to purchase that ahead of time. And I know parents have asked, I've been told in the past, if there's any way for the parents to not have to wait in lines because they would miss the opportunity to see some of their children play. So I think some of those things would be remediated with that.
I agree with that. I just think.
But
So
I can't, I
agree
just,
with that. So,
I just want to see us get money, that's all.
okay, so, and I agree. So I take exception to the statement that this isn't gonna cost us any money, okay? Because our IT department is gonna have to make sure that the site is up and running and that it's working well, and when people get there, it needs to be. So I'd like to know what does Mr. Feldman feel is going to be his cost for his department to monitor yet another software? And, what is the safety of this being integrated with our website, right? Because we've had hacking issues, we've had
Yes.
all kinds of issues, and what is the internet safety of this? And I don't foresee in from what I'm seeing and my experience in implementing digital things, it doesn't ever save you staff, it doesn't ever save you money, it only creates more work for different things that you need to do. Do I think we need a cashless system? Because we have a concern, cash is a concern. And we have to be, not that we've had any recent issues, but cash is always a concern and you want to be careful, and love to have some real data to know how many people do attend our football games, right? Because you get there and it gets stamped on your hand and, I don't know anybody's tallying me that up, I don't even know what they do in the booth, right? So it's there. I definitely could see some advantages here, but then this is another task on the business office to have to monitor this money coming in and making sure that this money that this company is sending us, and I don't know what the setup is in the back, but there is a cost and a labor that goes along with that. So to say something, yes, the software may not be costing us any money. We're gonna host it on our website. It's not gonna, the company itself is not charging us? Sure. Why? They're getting $1 per ticket for everything, plus a season ticket, they're gonna get 5% plus $2.
correct.
But $2 just for the whole season, not for per ticket?
It's for the season pass.
Okay, so it's just $2 instead of
ticket.
$1 times
Correct.
10.
Okay,
So
so,
either the 5% off of like a 3, it's 5% and then $2 at the end of the day.
right, so do we know what the cost of season tickets
What is
is?
a season ticket?
Season ticket if we,
So yeah,
the games we have?
so we have, so we have 5 games, so it would be $15.75, that would be the $15 plus the 5%, and then plus the $2, it would be $17.75 instead of 15.
Okay.
So they're paying $2.75 for a season pass.
It's definitely cheaper to buy the
They
season
include
pass than
5
like
tickets.
individual golf.
In the winter, say for basketball, where there's more home games, that would be a little, they would be able to save more if they bought a season pass
Sure.
for more games.
Ms. Helen, can you talk a little bit about how this would affect the business office? And what you would have to do to do the checks and balances for this company to send us the money and then making sure if the money, I don't know if the money's going directly into the bank, or you have
They offer the option.
to transfer, what is it gonna be? Because you still have to monitor that.
Right, we do have the option of the direct deposit, where we receive the money, 3 days later
Yes.
into our bank account, or we can get a check. So either way, 3 days later, I think they would send a check.
And
after the
detailed
event.
reporting right after the event.
Yeah, so there would be a detailed report along with the check or with the, direct deposit. And as long as, and we did speak about this, as long as we can set it up in advance so that it, I guess, goes into what they call a store, a separate store, when somebody goes in to, purchase these online tickets, so it's identified on our bank statement
Mm-hmm.
that this is what it's for, and not like, so we don't have to try to figure out if it's cafeteria or,
Which is why we do it
childcare or
manually,
something,
correct?
something else, yeah.
We do that manually now.
You know, in the summer school program, that's unfortunately did not get separated the way it should have, in advance, so that is a huge, but it does take a lot of time. But as long as it's set up correctly in advance, then it shouldn't be an issue for us, to account for it.
It did say that we can route it to any account. So for example, if we have an account for, for the performing arts and an account for athletics, it could be sent to those accounts so that the money wouldn't be commingled essentially. And if you got, I know earlier they asked me about total. So last year I have the total number of tickets sold per game. We had three home games last year. We had 621 at one game, 471. And the most attended that I have out of those three was 1,650. So that was the most, that was how many tickets we sold for the 3 individual games. So I think that ideally we can sell, a good amount of them ahead of time. That would definitely save a lot.
Let's talk a little bit about the website, how they go on.
Can go and as they're buying a football game ticket, they also have the ability to see any other events that we're hosting throughout the district. So in that sense, we can have a lot of fans or community members buying a ticket for that, and then also purchasing a ticket for a theater or something along those lines, which I think would be great to kind of incorporate that and not just have fans purchase for just games, and really kind of throw a little bit more of a community aspect to that.
Can I add on to what Ms. Belko said too?
Absolutely.
With putting it with the IT? You're gonna be setting up for the entire year, all the events, everything's going on, all the athletics, so it's all done at once?
So this integrates automatically to what we call activity scheduler, which is what we already have for athletics. So once we bring them aboard, that schedule that I already have set for the entire year automatically links up to that, and the games are already listed.
Do the other companies offer that as well?
The other companies do not offer that
Okay.
because of the fact that they
Okay.
they don't work with our school. So that's why I recommended that one, outside of Tickets Pick. I recommend GoFan because of the integration with our current,
Do you know of any other districts that do this around us?
yes, I do have the
Can you
list.
give me some, who
Absolutely.
are they, please?
Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Get that for you.
So I remember, just while he's pulling it up, when, Steve had brought it to me, just when he was brainstorming about ideas, one of the things that we really liked again was, it seemed that, the GoFan, right?
Yeah.
GoFan was more willing to retcon or retroactively construct what they had to meet our individual needs based on, some of the other, like, I believe, Tickets Spricket was a little bit more restrictive in their ability to adapt. Like, for example, and I'm grateful that Steve did consider other elements of the district outside of athletics, like Mr. Snyder's programs, and also because we're living through the summer program registration as we speak. And when you had mentioned the ability to control seat or rosters or classrooms, as you can call it, really offers a tremendous benefit from my perspective, maybe not in explicit revenue generation, but in efficiency of operations. And there should definitely be, without a doubt, front end, build out with tech. But I think about that line, I mean, I looked at the homecoming, 1,000 tickets. That was 1,000 cash transactions at one gate.
Yeah.
That, you know, and I've seen it, you drive past, and it's dangerous, to be honest with you, drive past the field on a Friday night. And, right, I mean, Steve and I have discussed this, there is a little bit of urgency to this, since where we are in August. But I also think that, Mrs. Snyder and I have been at, and I hesitate to say this publicly, but I think it's important to know, we've been at concerts where we've had security concerns about the amount of cash we've had on hand. And we've spoken with, our director of security and the security guards on site to be mindful of that. You know, a lot of times we have a cash box right by an entrance. And you know, Monroe is the cash town. So we have to be mindful of that and be proactive. And I would hate to have this conversation after something happened when we had litigated too long, whether or not it was. And I just felt obligated on behalf of the teachers to say that.
Yeah, it's understandable. Now that you're giving me all the information, it's understandable. It just,
Thank you, I appreciate that.
yeah, thank you.
Some of the schools that they listed included Morristown, Jefferson, Morris Hills, Morris Knolls, Mendham, West Morris, Long Branch, Hopewell Valley, Irvington, Wallington, and
Yeah,
Princeton.
large.
Wow.
Yeah.
Large.
And they said they're
You must know, right?
they're the most widely used ticketing system in the country outside of the MLB ticketing system that we use for professional.
Have you called any of those districts to see how it was working with them?
I have not, but I have gone into some of their school like athletic pages
Okay.
and see how it links up with
Okay.
the
All
Do
right,
they also link up with our athletic page? Do they use athletic page like we do?
Well, they have, yeah. So what happens is our school, so we have like the district athletic site, and then through activity scheduler, which again is what I use for
Okay.
activities, they create our own page
Okay.
that again automatically links to that at no cost for what we already pay for the activity scheduler, and this would be linked automatically there
Okay.
on, outside of the event page that they would provide us.
So how soon does this have to be done, like he was saying, it has to be done fast, right?
So,
It needs to get done when, we say it's okay to get it done.
Oh,
I don't like to be told that this is a urgency. I've been doing it like this for 20 years. 20 years.
When I
plus
say
4 months,
urgency,
it's
just
gonna
because.
kill it. I understand, but I don't like to be told that it's urgency. Mr. Snyder has been patiently waiting for me
No,
to talk.
no, it's all right. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Stephen said. So the state has been doing this, for concerts for about 6, 7 years now. The biggest reason that we went that way is, it was said many times, cash is just, it's scary, you know, I'm one of those people that I will walk, you know, $20 will fall out of my pocket, I'll remember it 3 days later. So cash is, it scares me, especially with the amount at some of these events that have been doing it. We are not taking that away you know, piggyback, parents can always still pay by cash if they want. But one of the advantages that I've seen at concerts through the years is, if there's an incredibly long line for cash, I've seen parents take their phone, buy a ticket, and then be able to come in that way. And if they're, especially when it's go time for the game or the concert or anything, they're able to just do it on their phone. They get a sheet and they're able to get through the line faster, which is there. I know you listed a lot of schools that use this thing. What I will say on the performing arts end is, most districts use some sort of online ticketing. It might not be specifically these. There are some that are more geared towards the performing arts. This is a more overall, big picture one, but most districts have gone to that, and the biggest reason has been the cash. So I just want to, you know, clarify that, because it's, you know, you want as few hands touching cash as
Right,
possible.
because you're touching it, maybe sometimes it might slip into your pocket, I'm not really sure.
May I just clarify, because I did use the word urgency?
Yeah.
My invocation of that word was simply because of the eminence of the fall sports season. I don't think it's a perceived.
No.
and I have talked to the
Oh,
company.
there's perception is a reality.
That's right, I just wanted to clarify.
That was my reality when you said that, so.
I'm sorry, I have talked to the company, and I told them that obviously we cannot move forward until obviously we have board approval. And they said that if board approved, I told them they got approved on the 16th, they said they could still get us set up for the season. The only option that they wouldn't be able to have for us for that first game would be the swiping of the credit cards. That usually takes about a 2-week process, but everything else would be able to be used, and they would work with us one-on-one to turnkey it for us so that we can use it.
Okay, that's nice of them to do that. I still have a concern from the IT side. Can I ask you to let us know before next week
Be done tonight.
what Mr. Feldman thinks the effort from his
Sure he's
department is going to need to be. Oh, yeah, I'm sure
I'm
he's
sure he's
watching. What the effort needs to be from his department for this, because again, I go back to, just because they're not charging us, doesn't mean it's not a cost to us, right? So, you know, that was kind of my first thing when I thought about this, and I saw this today in the agenda, I was like,
We'll take care, I'll take care of it.
so that's,
This evening
you
or
know,
tomorrow.
that's an issue. Does anybody have any other comments on this particular topic?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Falco, just
Yeah.
one thing we started in curriculum that I just wanted to say. So there is an option, Steve, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there is an option for this. It's just an option where if you go on StubHub or Ticketmaster, you know how you see Madison Square Garden on, and then you pick your seats. That is an option, but I don't believe we have to use that if we choose not to, because
I just think
you
we
made
should-
a point,
I
a good
think
point
we
where,
need
yeah.
to put some parameters around if we were to do something like that. I think general admission tickets, I think this would be great. We have a lot of events here
Right.
where we've got high school kids collecting tickets. Well, no, they're not high school kids, they're always teachers, right? Collecting tickets for the coffee house, where, you know, that kind of stuff. We're, for the entrance fees for those. What else do we do in the rotunda? There's a lot of things we do here that we, it's an entry fee to get in for the school district. And yeah, I can see a necessity. I just have a lot of questions around this process and about, picking your tickets and things like that. Cause not, it just doesn't, I just have Ticketmaster, like I said, in curriculum. I just have visions of, trying to get somebody, because everybody wants to center row, third and fourth row seats they want, because everybody wants to see little Sally or John B. or whoever, to be, to see their stuff, and I picked John B. because next to my daughter, she was always the one I really wanted to see, yeah.
We don't have to.
So,
But that's,
we don't
yeah,
have
that's what I'm
to
saying.
use it.
We don't have
But
to.
I would just be cautious putting parameters about how we're gonna do this, and then the process about it, like, we should be very clear about how it's gonna work and what we're gonna be doing, and then the cash thing, since this is the finance committee, I really think we need to think about that on an administrative level, how we manage that, what we do, because maybe we should have parameters about, once they hit more, a certain number in their cash draw.
And we do that.
we
I
should
just want to
have-
be
do we
clear.
have a safe on campus?
We do
Don't
that,
answer
No, don't answer that.
Don't
no,
answer that.
but we do have, whenever we have, but I just want to be clear, because whenever we do have a large scale event,
Tony and.
we always meet with building administration, we always meet with security.
And to secure the funds, we'll leave it at
Yeah, and our staff is briefed on our plan prior to all.
that. Okay, good, okay. So what I will do is, if I may,
Yes, you may.
I will go ahead and by tomorrow, we won't even wait till next week, I will have a conversation with Mr. Feldman. We actually had a big meeting, and I apologize, I didn't even think of including Mr. Feldman. We included, of course, Ms. Allen, but I will confirm if there's any extra extraneous work or financial responsibility on our end, and I will get the answer directly from, I won't call him Horst, but Horst is now. So, no problem, I'll be taking care of it by tomorrow, and I will send an email to to this committee, have that.
Thank you. I thought that would be helpful.
That would be great.
Take care of it, no problem.
Thank you.
And I'm sure they appreciate you thinking on everything.
Yes, I'm sure Elliot is watching.
I'm always thinking about the operational
Probably could answer.
of the issues.
Required to.
Okay, so the next agenda item is the monthly review of the attorney fees by Porzio, Bromberg, and Newman. We had combined services of $15.12, special ed matters $37.59, general legal advice $18.69, board superintendent, president correspondence $252, Oprah $0, and then personnel $42, special defense 10 for labor negotiations 10, 517. Some other issues, 2730 and 2704, and for a total of 23,385. Any questions, concerns, or problems?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Payne.
That legal fee to me is high, and I read the whole backup on it. Can I get Ms. Allen a yearly status on how much we've spent on legal fees for the fiscal year 2022, 23? I just want to get an idea of, how much we're putting out there. And, try to grasp. I mean, I know they have to charge for every little thing that you do or every little call that you make, but, oof.
Or if you see the full attorney report in the executive session, you'll see everything we get charged for.
Right, I know.
And I don't think there's anything here that's out of the ordinary or.
No, but I'm not, I'm not used to seeing the big numbers. So it's new to me, and that's why I'm asking just to see Yeah, what it is, that's all.
I just caution you, we had labor negotiations this year, which is not a standard.
Right.
That is a huge, that's a huge chunk of this. We negotiated two, yes, okay.
So this would,
No, it's okay. We negotiated two contracts this year, which required, the lawyer on that, and, we did a great job. We're not still sitting here with no contract for our teachers. Our teachers have a contract, we're moving forward, but there's still other like cleanup, right, language cleanup. We still have
Yes.
the official documents of both of them, right, because we had to wait for the insurance. There's a lot of like stuff, and I learned a lot this year doing negotiations, but there's a lot of that stuff that, you don't get the numbers from the state until such and such a date. This poor lady's doing, budgeting, and we don't get the right numbers. How do you make a budget when you can't get the numbers from the state until 5 days before the budget is due? And then we're supposed to make a decision. It's-
well then, since you're right, with the negotiations and everything, could I have a comparison from the year before to this year,
Yeah.
with and without negotiations?
And you're looking at all of the attorneys?
Yes.
Or,
Why is the owl
I think
talking to us?
it's the owl does that, I think, when it turns off. Yeah,
Oh,
That I heard it before. I think owls moving. I think it restarts, there it goes. I looked
Yeah.
up.
So for those who are watching us on the, video, on the owl, apparently one of our owls is going in and out, and every time he goes off and comes back on, and I'm assuming it's a he, don't know why. She, they,
Let's do it.
she, they, I'm not.
He, she.
He, she,
No
they,
assumptions.
and I'll get crucified on Facebook for that.
Facebook tonight.
It is what it is. I'm gonna get crucified. It's okay. It's all right. But
Right
it's
now.
making a sound just like an owl.
Yes,
So-
they're owls.
And it's disturbing when you're sitting here.
It is.
It's kind of a little freaky, okay? So anybody has any questions, just, yeah, it could be my turn this month. It's okay.
I could use great.
Okay, good. So does anybody on the committee have any questions about the bill list for this month?
Not the bill.
All right, try to bring a little levity to the group.
We need
Budget update, Miss Allen,
We need more.
you're up.
We need more money, that's what budget updates are.
so, I know all the committees are supposed to be getting, their board goals in this week at their meetings. And then maybe in September, the board will discuss those so that we can get rolling earlier this year. We've already discussed having an earlier, schedule, with meeting with supervisors and then getting the, budget defense rounds in, early November at the latest. So we can really get a good move on this, because it is an earlier schedule with the April election. And also we have, as you know, we're proposing some changed, dates for the board meetings and committee meetings because mostly because, well, not mostly, so in part because of, the election date being changed, and there are certain dates you have to meet. So, so for example, we'll have an early, preliminary budget hearing in February where we won't even have the state aid figures out, or, we'll have, to estimate what it will be, based on what we've gotten in the past. We won't have the tax levy figures either, so we're going to have to put together what we do know and leave that as an estimate. And then we are then we get the state aid that comes out, right in the beginning of March. We get the numbers. This year, I think it was the 2nd. It might be the 4th in 24 because it's a Monday. And then it's due to the state, the preliminary budget, or the adoption and filing of the budget is due to the state on March 4th, but they extend that usually until March 8th. So we have a very small timeline between the time we get the state aid and we have to fit it into what we have, and hopefully it's not less than what we've gotten, because we don't want to at that last minute have to be making cuts, but we have to be prepared for that either way. So there's a very, very tight timeline. And then after that, The county, the last day the county has to approve the budget that we've submitted is March 22nd. Then we have a public hearing, which we're limited to those days between March 22nd and March 29th, where the board will vote on the final budget and any, we can review any ballot question. And then, so that's the deadline to adopt the budget. And then the election would be April 16th. And then the organizational meeting, you have 2-week timeframe. Week after the election, so it'd be the 22nd until May 5th, where you have to have the organization meeting. And that's very condensed, you know, compared to what we're used to. So we definitely do want to get it rolling earlier and, you know, prepare. What we-
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that?
Exciting stuff.
Aren't you exhausted, you're thinking that? Did you want to give us any audit update? I know it's not on the agenda, but.
It's not, there really isn't anything, yet. We are not ready for them to come out yet. Usually it's towards the end of August, beginning of September, they will start. Nothing really new. with
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Okay.
That's great. So the last item on the agenda is board goals. I was asked to kind of step in at the last minute, so I don't have anything prepared. Ms. Kirby, did you have anything at all that you wanted for the finance committee?
Yeah, and Ken and I talked briefly, with Ms. Shannon, with Ms. Allen about, possible goals, for the committee. But, I mean, we can have a discussion, obviously, to,
Resources funding additional, can I help you? May I help you?
You may help her, yes, please help her.
I thought the owl came on again and it scared us. Back down.
It was a little scary.
I was like, I'm at that table there.
So when we started to talk about, when we started to talk about, which directly relates to Mr. Payne, is how can we better leverage, I love that word, I'm stealing it from Mr. Maralda, how can we better leverage, whatever resources we have in bringing some more funds and some monies into, our district, and the finance would be the appropriate, so perhaps the phrasing of the goal for the finance, committee would be something like, to continue to utilize, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a word, because like, for example, right now, we were looking at signage. Now we're starting to have conversations, and I don't know what's gonna fly, and let's say it gets approved, it doesn't have to, but if it did, or any company, you know, could we make some money off of them, because we're gonna utilize another company who's gonna say they're gonna put, you know, I'm trying to think of something that's not out there, you know, Mrs. Smith's Coffee House, I don't know, I'm coming up with something. So if you wanna
Yeah, so
talk
when
about,
we-
so that's our idea, is how to bring in some financial
We originally
funds,
had
revenue.
rolled out when we had started, right around this time last year, or actually, no, it was about 16 months ago at this point. We had started talking about ideas for revenue generation,
Mhm.
and we had started off with stadium signage, but
yeah.
if you remember that meeting, we did have a plan to expand methods for us to procure revenue
Good word,
streams.
procure.
You know, we had talked about doing so in a very strategic way to not, you know, violate the integrity of our programs and our school, being very selective about our partners. Buses, yes, we.
Like the wrap on buses, you know?
Late in the spring, we started, looking at, private organizations that are examining specific programs, which is very, intriguing to us, particularly given, you know, the whole point of the upcoming budget analysis is because we want to be able to, address some of these pressing issues, but not at the expense of our natural evolution of curriculum and programming. So to do that, we need to find other ways to help fund these and finance these, not finance, but fund these programs, and private funding and private revenue streams is an opportunity for that. Certainly we have, you know, just in the brief time, Stephen and I have been talking, just based on his experience in other districts through athletics. There are a lot of opportunities for revenue streams to performing arts, obviously, and some of the other new programs that we have been piloting this summer. So revenue, and I think the community, we've been very explicit with the community about our needs, and the idea of generating revenue in meaningful ways, in ways that benefit the school district.
Very meaningful. Can I ask you, are you good, I don't know, I don't come to the sports things, my husband follows them in the paper, but, do you guys put a booklet out, for your football team? And then you get ads for that booklet from local businesses?
For the fall sports program, I believe is something that football is looking to try to.
We've never done it before.
Yes, that's another fundraiser. And then for the arts, do you have, like, you have a play coming on?
Right.
And you list, who's playing, who's,
The playback, the
And then
playback.
you have, like, what's the one when the people, boosters? Okay, you send boosters around.
Yeah,
And the kids can, do boosters, and then parents can, say, good luck, Amy, kick the, no,
Yeah.
God, that's not
Well,
it.
plays back this year.
Break a leg. Oh
Middle
my God,
school.
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Do you know what
Yeah.
happened? You got
It is.
scared also, and you were mentally affected by the owl, both of you.
Now, she said horse, and I just,
No, Mr. I've seen that plenty of times. I've seen that. I think it's a phenomenal idea and something to look into and explore.
like if my child was in the play and I would say, go Amy, and then mom and dad love you, and take one out for $25, $30.
Right.
So we've got to utilize all of our different ways of making money that way, especially that sports book. I mean, they sell them for, I don't know how much at the door where I was before, but I mean, the parents, the kids get them, they have everybody sign them, not the high school kids, that's not cool. But, maybe the younger kids come and they have their brothers sign it. I'm just, and you got the falcon on the front and all that kind of stuff. And do you sell falconry clothing items and
Well,
stuff
they're revamping the whole school store.
at your games?
I believe we do, yes.
We do. So we have a school store here that is,
Being revamped.
Mr. Z just retired, so, he started it. We have, two new staff members that have been, I believe, either recommended or will be recommended to take it over. One of the things we're looking at that school store is setting up mini shops within it to help benefit individual programs, including athletics, and making it more accessible to the community after hours, online, things like that. So yes, there's, the other area that we're looking at, and Mrs. Chanley is aware of this, and so is, Mr. Barandika, is broadcasting.
Mhm.
A lot of districts, we just completed a mapping project a few weeks ago for our high school production program. We just approved 2 additional interns. So we're really excited about the broadcasting element of our new program. And I am aware that many districts leverage broadcasting to leverage sponsors. And, we already have about 24 existing partners. We continue to make more every month. And right now, they're limited to signage, but they want more. Right now, our current policy only allows us to sell sign advertising wise.
You mean just the signs
Yeah,
around?
yeah, we're very limited to
So
creativity.
would you have to change policy in order to put it in the books and all those things?
And, but we're aware of this, and that's, and I think it was very, very prudent of us to roll it out the way that we did. And I think the community response to the willingness to partner with us is there. I think they want more than just a stadium sign.
Yes.
I think that's great. Did you have something? written?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I was trying to
Something
figure
up.
out how to word it in my head.
Okay.
But I pulled up last year's, and I think it's almost the same as what we're talking about here. The Board of Education is committed to supporting fiscally responsible, revenue-driven initiatives. And then we had, the board will support and highlight district initiatives for revenue opportunities beyond the local taxes and state aid sources, advertising, Falcon Care, UC, summer programs, et cetera. This ongoing prioritization of cultivating additional revenue demonstrates the district's understanding of the importance of not relying on being able to pass a referendum to increase local taxes to meetings. So, I mean.
Well, that was last year's,
That was
that was one of
year's,
last
right.
year's goals. So did we meet that goal?
Work here.
And if we did, how did we meet that goal?
Well,
I wouldn't say so.
We made I won't, we'll get the correct numbers, but but our financial, our money that we took in, I would say was very minimal at best. Would you agree with that? So I would say that we did not properly meet that goal, and I think that we need to think out of the box.
No, the goal of the board is to support financially, fiscally responsible.
Oh, so then you didn't meet the goal.
initiatives. We don't put,
We do.
that's on
We
the
do.
administrative.
Right, well,
absolutely.
but, okay, so as a
So did we
board,
support?
yeah.
Oh, yes,
the
you meant
financial
that.
We
support?
vote, yes,
Yes.
vote yes for all of these. amendments and
Absolutely.
Things like that, so.
We need to take it to the, all right.
So I think we need to take it up to another level
And we might have to change policy, that's
maybe-
important, we can't let
maybe-
that.
So that's what we,
support policy change
Change.
to allow other opportunities
Put on
for
buses
revenue
and-
increases, such as, I don't think we want to get that specific, although some goals should be specific, but in our case as a board, we can be general and then ask the superintendent in her goals to be specific about some of the
well,
stuff.
and
that
if
we
I
want.
could just say specifically, the board authorizing or authorizing the operation, by the board giving us permission to operationalize certain initiatives, is pursuant to that goal. I mean, it would be
Summer school was one perfect example.
summer enrichment, summer enrichment, some of the things we are
Summer
talking
credit
about,
recovery.
we're already in the process of the aftercare, projects that we're working on. And also, we greenlit the advertising initiative, which we had a favorable response. So I think that if you wanted to take that goal up to the next level, we probably want to categorize different forms of revenue streaming, and formalize it, and then find what we have and make it more efficient. And when we go into after action for the summer program, Dr. Lane and I already talked about, we already have identified ways, if you wanted to specifically set, I would advise not against setting, specific figures, because it's hard to predict economic conditions and things like that. But, I would say the natural evolution of revenue streaming would be to break open the advertising,
I agree.
significantly, and to take enrichment year round, and then look at instilling more quality control and efficiency into the existing programs.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna paraphrase what he just said for a board goal, and that would be to support and enact policy and regulation changes to allow administration to,
Expand.
expand, thank you, see, this is why we do things in committee, to expand our, revenue, revenue
That would be
stream,
like,
whatever the other word.
sorry, Stephen asked me about advertising on the website, and that would be the logical next step. in
Right,
that
Got to make sure that we have the
advertising.
policy so that we're doing everything
Right.
appropriate.
And I think one of the things we had spoken about when constructing those policies, and we did so we talked about it pretty exhaustively, but, we want to make sure that when we begin promoting partners or organizations that we have like the clean, the vetting.
Yeah, we did.
And I think that was
all
kind
that,
of
it has
the
to be-
policy that
Yes.
we were
That has to
wanting
go in
to
your policy.
Yep.
Board approval.
Mhm. And I'm sure there's plenty of language out there that we could use as a starting point, because as you know, we wouldn't be the only district dipping our toes.
No, of course not.
No, it's not, absolutely.
What about all these warehouses in this town? I mean, if we sent things to them and say, you're in our town, we really appreciate you being here, but you think you could support our schools by taking out an ad in our football program? And new businesses coming in, find out from the Chamber of Commerce.
Sure.
Are there any new businesses coming in? Old businesses that have been here a while in Monroe that would really like people to say, I've been here 37 years and I have vegetables out, pops, whatever. It might be a $10 one, but it's $10 we didn't have before.
Yeah, no, and the partners are out there. All of our
Yeah.
partners, our formal partners right now are Monroe and Jamesburg exclusive.
Yes.
That's not to say that
We
those are
can't
the only ones we
venture out.
want.
Right.
But it's been, I don't know, and I don't want to speak for the town. I think they want more than a stadium sign. And right now, that's all
I think.
we're offering. I know that many of our current partners are about to expire, because we enter into one-year agreements, as per our policy. And, I'm presuming that a lot of our discussion is going to be, what else can we do? And everything from product placement on T-shirts to, or logo placement on T-shirts to one of the ideas I had kicked around would be the sponsorship of an entire program. So, we have a culinary program running this summer that,
Mr. Moraldo's culinary wants.
well, it's named after its instructor currently, but that's not to say that we wouldn't partner up with.
Yeah, but we have to vote on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
because
talked
we have-
about like
yeah.
expanding the advertising
Yes.
program, now that we're talking about this,
Right.
like, we have the sign with the back is blank.
Right.
Can we add that this year onto that?
Well, and we had talked about that being a different price point too. When we're talking about visibility, we had talked about the back of the scoreboard. A lot of these things came up also with,
Yeah, I know what
when we talked about visibility for referendum. We had incredible signage placement on very main roads. Apple Earth Road, we own property on a big chunk of that, stretch, so it'd be, but I like the idea that the board has always maintained, and obviously Mrs. Chairman and Dr. Lehman, the idea of doing it tastefully.
Yes.
And I think that our signage
Respectfully
outside
professional.
speaks to that, and
Yes.
I think our partners like the fact that we can offer them that.
Right.
as well.
You're at a snack shack over here.
Yeah.
All right, is it named after anybody in this town that has done something for the town or the district over the year where, you know, you could dedicate
No, but
it?
if
and have
Sabrett would
people
like to
come
put
in?
their name on it, it'll cost them $500,000.
Yeah. Why don't you reach out to Sabrett?
I'm tired of.
We-
Well, you don't have to
for
keep
Pop
that.
Warner.
I've had very,
Because we named.
I've had very
things-
fruitful discussions with local
we named-
restaurateurs.
After
that are
somebody that was
interested in
a beneficiary in the booster club,
Mhm.
who had done a lot for a booster club and was always there, blah, 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 and they named the hut. I mean, even Pop Warner, right now, my husband said they're gonna name the Sabella Park after the five first team
Mhm.
coaches of Pop Warner. And now it's gotten over here to me, because I can't.
Keep it on yours.
Sorry, anybody next to me? So they're gonna dedicate the park to those five coaches that coached that first team 60, 70 years ago. So you know that game, whew, a lot of the families are all gonna be there, and you're gonna charge admission, and, do you know what I'm saying? Something to draw them in. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and we've spoken about things like jumpstarting the alumni in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and-
oh,
and-
yeah.
And that all, it all
We're
kind
looking
of.
at
comes
alumni,
together, Things like that, so.
yes.
But to kind of circle back, I know we're.
Yeah,
You have a-
Stanley has one more.
I have
item
one
she'd
more.
like to
Yeah,
make,
I
so
think
just
that
wanna
if
wrap it up.
that, we would feel pretty good about continuing along that path. I'm speaking about the team that I worked with on this
Yeah.
initiative, if that was the will of Mrs. Stanley.
So I think the finance committee
That's a
is
great goal.
definitely behind all that, so we can. we'll
We
make-
started, yes,
Let's do our
there's lots
goals,
of
we can do all
conversations
that,
going
so.
on. Yeah.
Ms. Chaley has an update.
Yes, I would like, well, I don't really have an update, I have an update that I have no update, but I will.
Okay, well, there you go.
So approximately, our first packet of wants, needs, and must-haves, which I did mention at the board meeting, went out directly to the mayor's office where they gave us the courtesy we appreciated, board leadership as well as Ms. Allen and myself, Dr. Wayman and Mr. Jake, went and met with, you were there as well, Ms. Maralda, yes, went and met with the mayor, their council, some assembly people, am I saying it wrong? No, help me.
Council members.
Council members.
Council president.
And they said to get together a list, and rather than just give them a list that had no meat to it, we
Right.
waited and we got an estimator to come in, I discussed this, estimator came in, they gave us the actual dollar sign. The packet was then constructed with a cover letter from me, Mr. Maralda, hand delivered it, thank you again, sir, hand delivered to the mayor's office. We called, last week and we were told that the mayor was on, that the mayor's secretary was on vacation and we were waiting to get back. I had Miss, Zelinski, my secretary, reach out today to confirm that we're very eager and excited to meet with him again based upon our wants, needs, and must-haves. And she is going to be speaking with him tomorrow, and we're hoping to get a date at their earliest convenience, and we're excited about it. I didn't want you to think that, because when we talk about monies, that's money.
One.
So that's where we're at.
Did
Ms.
you
Chandler?
send that, I'm sorry, remember I mentioned the last board meeting too, for, I don't know who mentioned from the audience to send it to Senator Greenstein, that whole packet with all the needs and
I
wants.
gave that to you. Did you get a chance to get that out yet? I don't,
It's not been delivered, but we
we
did.
were waiting for one more
And
amount.
we
Dan,
had- we were looking
Dan
up that part.
Benson is also, and there's three of them that.
We
could
have-
send it to-
We
need to
have a
go
letter
out to.
that are constructed.
We could send it all to them.
And so whenever we were waiting on one final estimate.
Right.
But that would be ready to go. And I do have an update that I need to brief you on yet regarding the broadcast server.
Oh,
Not
and that was the
financial.
other thing, just so you
We
know, when
did
I put that in my
receive
confidentials.
A response from municipality about meeting to discuss their needs and some of their ideas about proceeding for the broadcast server. That was at while we were in curriculum committee. So, I'll follow up on that immediately because that would have potential implications for the committee.
And I did put that into the confidentials, and another thing we're gonna discuss, which will be at the EGT, we're gonna discuss that as well as the actual signing the issues we're having. So some of the questions that came up, I took them to the next level, brought them to the appropriate people, I put it in the confidentials that way, and then thank you.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, we also are following up with yearbooks, we are looking to do something with graduation pictures. It is a financial thing, it's finances. Graduation pictures, because we have an awesome in-house employee photographer, we haven't had the conversation yet, who's moving from the middle school to the high school, just these gradual, different environment, different opportunities. So I've been having conversations with, Mr. Maralda about her being the individual and how we're going to, look at the way we do graduation pictures to, keep a cheaper cost. And we also are having conversations, he's reached out to some reps to talk about yearbooks as well. We know it's always a year ahead, so we have to do what we need to do because we have to take care of our kids, and we already have the contract. So we know that whatever we do would affect September of 2024.
And there are not as many vendors out there.
No, there isn't.
Which is.
There's like three, I think, main, because they all own each other.
Fine.
They could charge what they
Cost is
charge.
ridiculous.
It is.
Monopolies.
I
I
have
was
two
gonna
quick
ask,
questions before we finish.
Okay, well,
Is that
we're
okay?
into policy committee time, but yes, go right
Okay,
ahead.
just two. First of all, did you put in for mileage when you took that packet up to the,
No,
No, because,
Never mind.
because it's too short of a distance. It'd be
The
like
other
me putting
question
a bunch of
is, quick, I was looking at my ID photo, and it has the year, but 22, 23. Does your ID have just 1 year on it?
it always says 1 year, always.
Why? I mean, my husband just retired and he had it for 27 years. Why are we making all these new IDs and how much do they cost and how much can we save? By just letting them go, like, Mr. Lehman, Dr. Lehman's here 30 years, so he's got that same ID unless it falls apart. So why
My response to that is for security.
I think it is a
Every
security.
person needs to have an ID for this particular year, because I could walk into this building tomorrow, having been a graduate in 2020, and somebody could see, yeah, in my dreams, somebody could see the ID and not think anything of it,
Okay.
yet I haven't been in school in 4 years.
I've never seen an ID with the year on, even when I worked, so I was just wondering,
Oh.
if,
I worked in Florida for 10 years, I have one for every single
Well,
year.
Well,
This is-
you only had it when they changed the front door
Right,
to a
you don't have to
swipe
change the
because
picture,
people were
yeah.
breaking in.
Yeah, I think we do change the picture, but like every 4 years.
You may
right?
know that I have a lot more hair in my current ID than I do.
Oh, I guess.
You don't
But
have- oh,
Because I haven't updated my picture in 3 years. I don't think.
Okay, I know security, I understand that, but it's just like, why are we redoing that picture?
I think that that's standard practice. From that, at this point, I can't imagine that they're letting staff recycle IDs. Really? So what if someone like gets convicted of a crime?
Man, I should let you talk in curriculum.
So that's part of the package.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
What happened?
I'm sorry.
Attorney Lou.
Are you done?
Do it every 2 months.
Is that all the business before the committee? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your letting me have my antics,
Can I
still
ask
in the
one?
finance committee. Thank
Maybe
you.
more than I want
Good
I
night.
got all my work
If
done
that
during
goes
curriculum.
back to it.
See you.